Do you recognize the structure? If Egypt has mysterious pyramids that have existed for thousands of years in the desert, India has the architectural masterpiece called Taj Mahal, and China owns the Great Wall, then our Western neighbor is currently possessing a grand construction, massive towers, intricate carvings, and endless corridors made from large stones, all forming the magnificent and legendary Angkor Wat. It's no coincidence that this place is hailed as the crown jewel of the temple-filled nation of Cambodia. Egyptians are always proud of believing their ancestors built one of the most extraordinary architectural wonders in the world, and Cambodians feel the same way too. Do you find the emblem on this flag familiar? Precisely, it's the symbol of Angkor. Every time people see it, they wonder who truly created such greatness. We absolutely have the right to question the real owners of these ancient structures. Why? Because even our advanced science today cannot explain how ancient civilizations built the pyramids or Angkor Wat. The city of temples in Cambodia, Angkor Wat, was constructed how, and who was its true master architect? Let's uncover the answers to these questions in today's episode of the Primeval Universe. Who was the real owner of Angkor Wat? Angkor Wat is a temple complex in Cambodia covering over 1.6 million square meters. It is recognized as the largest religious structure in the world. Western scholars were once astonished that the Khmer people could build such an incredible temple during the same era as ancient Rome. In 1586, a Portuguese priest named Antonio de Madalena visited the temple and exclaimed in awe at its beauty and magnificence, calling the structure so unique that words couldn't describe it, especially since it looked unlike any other building in the world. It features towers, detailed patterns, and fine lines that only geniuses could create. Let's look at the overall map of the Angkor site. You can easily notice the distinctive layout: temples and narrow corridors. Angkor Wat is an enormous religious complex covering 162.6 hectares, 1.626 million square meters. Meanwhile, Angkor Thom is the ancient capital ruins of the Khmer Empire, spanning over 9 square kilometers. So what we're exploring today is just one of hundreds, perhaps even thousands, of large and small temples within this grand architecture. Surrounded by a moat and walls stretching 3.6 kilometers long, the central sanctuary has 3 tiers connected by long corridors. The main temple is designed similarly to a pyramid with 5 main towers, symbolizing Mount Meru in Hindu mythology, the sacred mountain surrounded by oceans in the universe. If humans didn't have the help of modern advanced tools, it would be extremely difficult to complete such intricate carvings. The temple was built based on stone arrangement first, and then architects began carving. Evidence remains in the form of unfinished carvings, still visible on pillars at the first level. The lowest tier of Angkor includes pools used by the king for bathing, now dried up. The second tier, symbolizing the earthly realm, contains a wide courtyard enclosed by a wall, housing shrines dedicated to various deities. The second tier also includes a drainage system for the entire temple. On the second level, there are shrines dedicated to Vishnu carved from black stone. There are countless reliefs depicting bare-breasted Apsaras dancing, but now only a few remain intact. The third tier represents heaven, standing at 65 meters high. This top level is believed to be where gods reside. Tier 3 consists of two cross-shaped corridors intersecting at a central point. Surrounding the center is the famous watchtower. At the heart of the temple is the tallest tower of Angkor Wat, with 4 rectangular galleries surrounding it, each corner having a smaller tower. Together, the central tower and 4 surrounding ones form the iconic skyline of Angkor Wat. The staircases leading to the central towers are steep, nearly 45 degrees, and very narrow, making them extremely difficult to climb. Inside the large halls of the temple, there is a mysterious chamber that produces a soft echo, like distant drum beats reverberating in the void. Angkor Wat is a glorious architectural achievement that demonstrates deep knowledge in every aspect. It was built during the peak of the Khmer Empire and is considered the crown jewel of the land of temples. Admired for its majestic and harmonious architecture, rich sculptural art, and numerous divine statues adorning the stone figures. The highest tower of Angkor Wat reaches 65 meters, taller than any bell tower in Europe built before the 15th century. Below the towering spires lie long, cool corridors adorned with vivid reliefs. Located 7.2 kilometers north of Siem Reap, the 8-meter-high walls are made of laterite stone with a battlement along the top. Each direction, east, west, south, and north, has a gate, and roads lead directly from those gates to the central temple of Bayon at the heart of the city. Time has erased almost everything, but the great Angkor complex still stands, mostly undamaged. The glorious past of Angkor can be seen through its massive scale and intricate carvings. Despite many years passing, its ancient mystery remains intact. Perhaps the sandstone taken from Phnom Kulen helped preserve this structure against the flow of history. Its breathtaking beauty makes it the perfect symbol of Hinduism. Originally, this temple was built to worship Vishnu, the preserver god of Hinduism. Angkor Wat is regarded as a miniature representation of the Hindu universe. Interestingly, it contains over 3,000 Apsara carvings, celestial dancers of Hindu mythology, each uniquely posed or expressing different emotions. If humans of the 8th century could build such a delicate and skillful structure without scientific help, then human capability back then must have been extraordinary. Bayon Temple was built in the Buddhist architectural style. Each tower includes 4 giant faces carved into stone with enigmatic smiles. Each face looks in a different direction. Until today, no one has been able to explain the expressions, the smiling lips, sorrowful eyes, and thoughtful faces depicted on the statues. Even scientists and local people are puzzled by these details. Based on remaining archaeological evidence and ancient records, this man is considered the builder of the great structure of modern-day Cambodia. He was a legendary king who ruled the Khmer Empire from 1113 to 1145 AD. Although the architectural complex had contributions from many others, modern archaeologists regard King Suryavarman II as the main builder of Angkor Wat because of this relief found within the temple complex after its rediscovery in the mid-19th century. But clearly, you might feel something off when looking at this relief, correct? What we're pointing out here is that compared to the magnificent, sophisticated, and complex Angkor, what this relief of King Suryavarman II appears simple, small, shallow, and faint. If he truly created such a grand structure, his mark should be more prominent. Why would someone who created one of the greatest architectural wonders in history leave behind only a faint and shallow relief? This leads us to ask, was Suryavarman II truly the original owner of Angkor Wat? After the decline of the Khmer Empire, Angkor Wat gradually faded into obscurity. Until now, people continue to wonder why such a monumental structure could be forgotten. Some believe bloody wars forced people to evacuate. Others think people left due to religious changes from Hinduism to Buddhism in the 13th and 14th centuries. Another theory suggests that water systems in the city became unusable, prompting relocation. Although Angkor was abandoned and slowly overtaken by jungle, locals always knew about the complex. Not until the 19th century, specifically in 1860, did French naturalist and explorer Henri Mouhot rediscover Angkor Wat deep within the jungle. Hot, one of the explorers, wrote that Angkor Wat was one of the most beautiful temples ever built, rivaling Solomon's legendary temple of pre-Christian times. It deserves a place among the finest buildings of our time. It surpasses anything left by Greece or Rome, and presents a sad contrast to the current state of savagery in which the country finds itself. Like early Western travelers, Hot found it hard to believe that the Khmer people could have built such a magnificent temple around the same time as ancient Rome. The actual history of Angkor was pieced together using stylistic clues and accumulated artifacts during restoration work. No ordinary houses, signs of settlement, cooking utensils, weapons, or clothing typically found at inhabited sites were discovered around Angkor to support the idea that the Khmer built it in the 13th century. Instead, only ceremonial evidence exists. Note that Suryavarman II's reign coincided with the decline of the Khmer Empire. In fact, he is believed to have lost battles and died in a war with Vietnam in 1245 in Thanh Hoa. By 1250, Kampa had briefly occupied Khmer territory. Thus, it's hard to believe Suryavarman II could have built Angkor Wat as historians claim. Monumental structures usually require immense labor, money, and often bloodshed. To build the Forbidden City, one of the world's greatest wonders, covering 720,000 square meters, half the size of Angkor Wat, the Chinese spent 14 years, involving 1 million workers and 100,000 artisans. Closer to home, historical records show that to fund the modestly sized tomb of Emperor Khai Din, only 5,674 square meters, Vietnam's emperor had to raise taxes by 30% nationwide. All this means it's hard to imagine how a weakened empire at that time could have built such a grand structure. Where did the Khmer get the resources? If not the Khmer, then who built it? In recent decades, scientists have discovered that many famous ancient structures lie on a straight line around the Earth, known as Ley Lines. One such line passes through Easter Island, Egyptian pyramids, Nazca Lines in Peru, Angkor Wat, ancient Ba Kingdom, Mohenjo-daro, and some sites speculated to be Atlantis. Remarkably, these locations align within a margin of less than 1/10 of a degree latitude, centered near southeast Alaska. Many call these ley lines Earth's meridians because they pass through ancient sites with inexplicable architecture. Structures on these lines, including Angkor Wat, are believed to possess special energy or were built by a civilization beyond our understanding. Scientists have noted erosion patterns on the Egyptian pyramids, indicating they may have been submerged underwater thousands of years ago. This led to theories that these structures are older than 2500 BC. Some even suggest pyramids were ancient power plants, a theory gaining traction as more evidence surfaces. Compared to the three major pyramids on the Giza Plateau, over 100 meters tall and highly durable, other Egyptian pyramids are much shorter, poorly built, and lack signs of marine erosion. This suggests the big pyramids were built by a prehistoric civilization, while the smaller ones were imitations by later Egyptians, causing confusion about their true origins. So, could Angkor Wat have been built by an ancient civilization? Not the Khmer Empire in the 13th century? Is there any credible evidence supporting this? Descriptions of extinct animals millions of years ago, telescope-like carvings, and depictions of the solar system challenge the belief that 9th century artisans could have imagined such things. Who truly built this mysterious temple? Recent findings by Indian amateur archaeologist Bravel provide compelling evidence that building Angkor Wat 900 years ago with Cambodian technology was impossible. He estimates that constructing a 1.6 million square meter complex will require at least 10 million cubic meters of stone. Assuming Suryavarman II commissioned the temple and workers labored 12 hours daily for 37 years, total construction time would amount to roughly 9,723,600 minutes. That equates to moving 1 ton of stone per minute. Phnom Kulen, 80 kilometers away, was a primary source. Yet, extracting, transporting, carving, and assembling 1 ton of stone over 80 kilometers in 1 minute is impossible, even with modern tech. Suppose Suryavarman II mobilized 1,000 teams, completing 1 stone block every 1,000 minutes, 17 hours, would still be unfeasible with 9th century tools. How could ancient Cambodians move 1.5-ton sandstone blocks and finish such a massive temple in just 35 years? For decades, this remained a mystery until satellite imaging revealed a 32-kilometers canal network used to transport stones. Professor Uchida of Waseda University confirmed these canals were built to streamline transportation. Compared to land routes, waterways save significant time and effort. Archaeologists found remnants of the canals, some still holding water, while others had disappeared under forest growth. They also discovered precisely cut stone blocks along the route, possibly dropped during transport. These discoveries show that the Khmer engineered an efficient logistics system, allowing them to transport 5 million tons of sandstone in 35 years instead of centuries. Does this prove the Khmer built Angkor Wat? Maybe, but other findings may change your mind. Upon examining the statues at Angkor, what noticeable differences exist? Statues from Suryavarman II's era are beautifully crafted with seamless joints, while later Buddha statues appear rough and crude. If craftsmanship declined, shouldn't it take centuries, not just a few decades? Brave Mohan found a poorly built stone tower, contrasting sharply with the rest of Angkor Wat. He argues these low-quality structures were likely built by Cambodians 900 years ago, while the grand Angkor Wat predates them. Additionally, a relief in Angkor Wat depicts a battle between gods Indra and Vishnu. One figure uses a strange object resembling a telescope. Historically, telescopes were invented in 1608, 400 years ago. How could Cambodians have known about telescopes 900 years earlier? Similarly, in India's Meru Temple, built around the 12th century, relief shows a deity using a telescope. Both temples in different countries, built in the same era, depict the same impossible object. Coincidence or shared knowledge? More mysteriously, a relief in Angkor Wat shows a four-tusked elephant, an extinct species whose fossil was found in Indonesia. Without modern archaeology, how could medieval artisans know about extinct animals? One wall in Angkor Wat depicts a Hindu sun god surrounded by 9 figures, potentially representing the solar system with the sun and 9 planets. However, Neptune and Pluto were only discovered in the last 400 years, and both are invisible to the naked eye. How could 9th century artisans have such precise astronomical knowledge? This suggests an advanced civilization, possibly extraterrestrial, contributed to these structures. In 2007, international researchers used satellite imagery and modern techniques to conclude that Angkor was the center of the largest pre-industrial city in the world, covering 1,000 to 3,000 square kilometers with a complex water management system serving 750,000 to 1 million people. If the city truly existed in 1100 AD, the Khmer would have been the most powerful empire globally, yet no such legacy remains. Therefore, Angkor might be a prehistoric city built by an ancient civilization, not the Khmer. Who truly built Angkor Wat remains a mystery. Perhaps part of Angkor Thom is also prehistoric. The lower quality of newer Khmer constructions confuses modern observers. Just like the Egyptian pyramids, time erodes truth, but Angkor Wat stands defiant. Regardless of who built it, it now belongs to humanity. If one day the mystery of Angkor Wat is solved, it could change our understanding of history. If this video sparked your curiosity, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps the channel reach more curious minds like yours. Subscribe Mr. Batut channel if you want more mind-bending mysteries and wild what-if questions every week. And hey, drop a comment below. What do you think is the real story behind Angkor Wat? Or suggest the next mystery we should explore. Until next time, stay curious, stay weird,